Good morning and welcome to the Workforce Observer. We are pleased to have with us today Mike Small. He is U.S. Country President for the Adecco Group and President Akkodis North America. As a leader, Mike is big on cultivating high-impact cultures leading to transformation. Welcome, Mike.
Subadhra, it's so good to see you. How are you?
I am doing well and I'm very pleased to have you on the show.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's really good. Thank you for making the time.
Welcome.
So, it's a big job. I would say jobs. How do you balance your dual responsibilities, both as U.S. country president of the group and president of Akkodis North America? What's your mission in these roles?
Yeah, we were just talking about this the other day. The art of matrixed management and leadership, and I think the first thing that I would share is having great teams. When I think about the Adecco Group, we have a vast plethora of talent in our LHH division that focuses on career transition and mobility, to our Adecco staffing division, which really services all of the large clients around the world in a global framework. And then our Akkodis division that really highly specializes in consulting services and tech talent for engineering and IT. So the first role as U.S. country president is really orchestrating the group's vast leadership around aligning around clients and around commonality around our candidates and the candidate experience. So in that role, we really focus on our HR functions, our shared services, middle office functions, and ensure that they're supporting each of the three various global businesses. And then in my role of driving and leading the strategy and the implementation of our Akkodis North America division, it's really, now that we're post the acquisition of our ACA team, which was a $2.2 billion euros consulting services acquisition, we've integrated that. We're really highly focused on building out practice capabilities, competencies that service our clients globally, as well as ensuring that we are building out fantastic delivery operations and teams around generative AI technologies, right through to advanced robotics technologies in terms of our engineering and mechanical engineering capabilities. So that is a fun aspect of my job, cutting edge technologies, working with brilliant people. The commonality is we have fantastic teams and fantastic leaders that I get to work with every day.
And I'm just going to ask this because, I know people is a big part of your mission. The market, the way it is, and what's going on, how has that impacted Adecco and, just getting talent to do your stuff internally?
Yeah. There's no question that from a staffing standpoint, post-COVID, we absolutely, like many of our industry colleagues, surged. There was a mass need for talent, and with the great, mobility challenges that happened post the pandemic, we really seized on those opportunities and serviced our clients and candidates in a fantastic way. The last 18 to 24 months, we've seen trends where staffing levels and talent levels have kind of pulled back in many of our key industries. So being able to be flexible and nimble in those environments, these cyclical challenges within our industry, super important.
Right.
But I think the most critical element in those instances of any type of industry change is staying close to our associates, our candidates, and listening to them on what they need to thrive in terms of their careers, their development. So one of the things that we're very proud of, especially within our Akkodis and our LHH division, is how quickly we've pivoted, listening to our associates on servicing them on upskilling, reskilling associated with generative AI technologies, development. We have an Akkodis Academy where we're really focused on a partnership with Microsoft, where we have globally implemented and trained thousands of engineers on GenAI enablement, technology certification. And then also our General Assembly division in LHH has really focused on the associate experience and upskilling, reskilling those that have been potentially impacted in terms of just the cyclical change, as well as preparing them for the future of work. with technology adoption as well. So that's a great purpose. That keeps me, really highly in tuned and engaged in the industry, but really servicing our associates and candidates on what they need is really fulfilling work.
Thank you. Are there particular initiatives at Adecco that you're excited about? Because I know, for you, and we've talked about this in the past, meaningful change is important. So there's a lot going on, but is there anything in specifically, that you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, my thoughts on what really makes me proud to be part of the group is our commitment to our colleague development. And recently we've spoken about it within our US teams, the ability for us to move and share talent across the vast businesses is so important to us. It allows our people to continue to grow and develop, and it ensures that we're working across very different businesses and different strategies, but also being able to develop that muscle memory, that strong tissue that binds us and keeps us together and integrated in front of our clients, as well as really being able to have an edge over our competition. And this is where we spend a lot of time, is talent development and ensuring that we are able to provide our colleagues with as much advancement and opportunity as we possibly can. And when you're running 3 global business units, that opens us up for a lot of different leadership development, leadership opportunity across those 3 units. And quite proud of some of the mobility that we've had between the units recently and how we continue to develop and ensure that we are providing our colleagues with as much opportunity as possible. So that's super exciting. The other aspect that I think is more industry specific is we're in this great opportunity to really reshape the future of work for so many of us with the adoption of generative AI technology. So this is really where I spend a tremendous amount of my time these days, on understanding how we can best position the business for the next 3 to 5 years. We have put in place a generative AI, we call it a Spark AI task force, globally integrated across all of our businesses. And we're spending a lot of time on strategic relationships with Microsoft, Salesforce, with immense possibility in terms of how we're both using generative AI to really reimagine our internal operations, but really position ourselves as a leader in human capital and in the future of work with generative AI in all of our divisions. And that we just had a global leadership meeting spearheaded by our global CEO, Denis Miguel, where as leaders, we're workshopping this. We have input. We have our thumbprint on shaping the future direction of our strategy. And that is truly exciting.
Thank you. Challenges you're facing now. I know there are a lot. Let's talk about your 2 biggest challenges.
Yeah, so, not so much challenges. The first would be an opportunity. And this is where I'll specifically make reference to the transformation we're currently under with our Akkodis division. We are a tech talent behemoth. We are very much established in our temporary staffing division of driving innovation as well as talent across multiple industries. With the acquisition of ACCA, we really have now harnessed a consulting services engineering capability that we've really been able to scale our consulting services business across our primary industries, which are aerospace and defense, our high-tech industry, as well as our banking financial services clients. So we've really been able to work with our clients in a new way. And this is, clients like automotive clients that have traditionally looked for us for staffing projects. We are now able to have full-scale engineering conversations with them around product innovation support, offshoring, nearshoring capabilities around the world, bringing the best talents globally in front of our automotive and engineering clients, being able to also have those same conversations now with life sciences clients. And this is really where we've spent a lot of time on educating our field on really these new capabilities. So it's a huge opportunity. But I think what is, the fruits of the labor is actually some of the results. And in North America, we've grown our consulting services business organically by 25% now for the last 2 consecutive years. And that is something that is immensely a source of pride and all credit to the teams that have really embraced the capabilities that we've acquired with ACCA and fused them together with the clients and the candidates that we work on a daily basis in our talent business to really have those great results. So that's the first initiative that I spent a lot of time on, is creating the teams, the strategy, and what they need to be successful in terms of implementing and leveraging the capabilities that ACCA has brought us. And then I think the second element is we've redesigned our values that are consistent across the entire group. And our values is what's really, is the connected tissue that keeps us all together. And one of them that's absolutely critical to our success as a group is customer at the heart. And customer at the heart and collaboration are really the two that I spend every day on, which is if I'm not speaking with a customer for at least 2 to 3 hours out of my day, there's something wrong with my calendar, right? So I really spend time listening, speaking, and being connected to our customers. And then equally, I want to ensure that, as U.S. country president, I'm spending that time with our Adecco GBU, our global business unit, our Akkodis GBU, as well as our LHH GBU, to understand their strategies and how to adopt and integrate those strategies locally within the market and our customers ultimately together. So those are the 2 areas that I focus on quite a bit.
That's great. I mean, this has to be talked about, right? The current administration. How is the policies impacting the staffing market, particularly, I guess, in terms of job creation and workforce dynamics? I mean, I know there's return to office, 5 days. I mean, there's so many things going on,
so many things.
I
recently spent a little bit of time on return to office policies, and there's vast differences sometimes on our clients' approach, as well as also the candidates, right? Our candidates and our people have a voice in this, transformation associated with return to office policies. And one of the areas that we focus on significantly, first off, is our Ezra team is really seeing an uptick, and our Ezra is our online coaching platform, really helping managers deal with this. Because our best approach in terms of thinking is really to educate and ensure that the manager and employee are connected and ensuring that whatever policies are being adopted are consistent. And there's a wide consistency factor that we're seeing in terms of sometimes our clients' policies, as well as also you mentioned the administration policies as well. So consistency is key, and ensuring that our managers are also equipped and trained to really have those conversations and continue to try to make it and harness a win-win relationship with our colleagues, our people, and ensuring that it's not, one size fits all, but also that the individual needs are also heard as they are working on the policy, etc. One of the things that we've tried to do is increase where we have our population of both colleagues is incentivize, a return to office that makes sense, where collaboration is really fostered and an attraction to sort of bring our people back to office, but ensure that we are doing so in a way that is respectful, but also maximizing some of the real returns coming from collaboration, face-to-face meetings together, especially for our new joiners. I think that this is something that we do honestly need to look at the data and understand in greater detail. How are our new joiners assimilating into the culture? How are our new joiners being supported? how are our new joiners being successful in terms of their KPIs, et cetera, and ensuring that we are giving them everything we can in order for them to be successful. And I think some form of in-office collaboration, at least for our industry, is very, very important. So, is it a one-size-fits-all? Is it a 5-day-a-week return policy? The answer in many of our businesses is no. But in some businesses, it's yes, right? Because that's just what our clients have dictated. Specifically to the administration, there's a lot of change going on right now, and I think everyone is digesting it. And
Right.
there are so many topics that are being implemented, so many changes that are being implemented. We are a regulated federal supplier, so we are going to be compliant. We are going to ensure that we really our federal workforce is absolutely critical to the group. We will always continue to support that workforce, continue to invest in that workforce. And we get to work alongside with some of the most iconic U.S. brands that are such a privilege to support on a daily basis. We're going to ensure that we continue to do that in both compliance to our federal laws, but also ensuring that we are always going to be people associate first in terms of how we implement and put in place best practices to support them. So a lot of change. I think the best advice that I'm giving both our business leaders as well as our customer account teams is stay very close to both the policy changes and our customers. And really, we are amping up and engaging our workforce to ensure that we are staying super close to them as well. Because in some cases, there's anxiety because of just the sheer amount of change.
Yep.
But at the other times, there's also opportunities that we're seeing by just staying close to our associates with ensuring that we are helping them along the decision-making path for their own careers and ensuring that they have access to all of the capabilities we have for upskilling, reskilling, and ensuring that they're supported.
Let's take a step back. Your current take on the staffing industry. Any notable shifts or trends that you're noticing and you're like, okay, got to pay attention to this?
Yeah, I think the first is, and it's funny, when I joined the staffing industry from the BPO services industry and the services industry background, people were asking me, is this an industry that's going to be around? And I would tell you,
Really?
it was that candid. Some of my colleagues were like, we don't get that move. What are you doing? And I said,
Yeah. So let's talk about a little bit about the current take on your take on the staffing industry. Any notable shifts or trends that you're paying attention to, and you're like, okay, I've got to be close to this.
Yeah, I as I came from the BPO industry prior to joining the Adecco group. And I would say there were some similar trends that I noticed in both the BPO industry as well as our staffing industry. And that is how technology is changing and revolutionizing how our recruiters and our staffing leaders really service both clients and candidates. So I'll give you a couple of examples. In BPO, with the adoption of speech analytics, as well as then robotics process automation, as well as a lot of technologies with the early adoption of GenAI and AI, boy, oh boy, that started to change the face of how our BPO industry was looking, and some led to facing challenges around significant call center call deflection and some of the other technologies that really reduced the amount of workload. What we saw is that the workload didn't so much go away, it just changed. And being really, really connected to those changes and in front of, participating in, is what separates, companies that are going to adopt and thrive to companies that may not. And I think it's very similar to what we're seeing in staffing in today's market. Companies that are leaning in and truly adopting a Gen AI approach to both their internal operations, as well as ensuring that we are future proofing and really understanding how the future of work is going to change. If you are in a light industrial client set today, there's no question that automation and robotics is going to change the way work is done. If you are in a professional environment today, and this professional environment could be legal to finance to HR to any type of information technology support, there's absolutely no question that generative AI will have a both positive and potentially could have a displacement impact on certain roles within our professional divisions. So, are we understanding that? Are we looking at the end-to-end business process? Do you have a point of view on what are some of the elements of that process that are going to be transactional, easily automated, and how much percentage of our current workforce participates or is going to be potentially impacted? Are you proactively reaching out to that workforce and incentivizing upskilling, reskilling? How do you future-proof your career to ensure that you're prepared for some of these changes? The recruiter that can ensure that they're connected to that process end to end and the candidate life cycle, the candidates' trust in our recruitment teams is paramount. And that's why the industry will continue, in my opinion, to thrive, but it will change.
So the recruiter is not going to go away. This existential threat to the industry is just something people like to talk about. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, no, there's no question in my mind the recruiter will not go away. The way they do work will change, absolutely, and we're already seeing that.
Right.
In terms of how we service our associates and the type of work we do for our clients, this is a very highly resilient industry.
Yeah.
Because of the cyclical nature of our industry as well, it adds significant flexibility to many of our clients' business models. That flexibility is very important. So we will continue to play a very important role, both as an industry as well as supporting our clients in Canada.
Well, it's good to hear that. What's your vision for Akkodis?
My vision for Akkodis is to continue to build, I believe, the absolute best tech talent consulting services organization and team on the planet. And I'm super, proud of what we are doing within the workload. Right now, this call is scheduled in our, sales pipeline and our wins call. So I don't know if you're hearing the teams beeping and chiming in, but I tried to turn it off. I can't because it's so infectious because everyone is really speaking about and proud of what we call the Akkodis Edge. And when I think about that in terms of my career progression and transition into our division at Akkodis, we are able to have the best of tech talent where we are focused on really understanding the needs of our associates and helping them, training and developing them into higher levels of both career trajectory as well as project intimacy. We have such immense projects that we're able to incentivize candidates to really look at because they're cutting edge. So our tech talent division, we have this unique ability to be extremely flexible. And then you go right up to our consulting services division. And we recently were awarded a very competitive process within one of the advisory intermediary organizations that serviced one of our largest clients. It went out to market in an RFP, and we have been awarded a multi-year outsourcing contract that really focuses on adopting AI and recreating the entire operations of both app dev, infrastructure, cloud, analytics, all encompassed into one generative AI operations framework. And when you're working on projects like that, it's hard not to get super excited about the edge we have, which is we can go very broad, very deep in generative AI adoption technologies, proof of concepts, but we have access to over 50,000 engineers that we can then tap into and then ensure that we are injecting real-time, right-time recruitment on that allows us to be super nimble and super flexible. So it's creating this balance of, we have deep practices that we're investing in, deep technologies, but also we have immense access to our talent that we can then ensure that we are bringing forward really cutting edge leading projects. So, we call that the Akkodis Edge. We're super excited about it. It's resonating in the market, as you're seeing.
Yeah.
And, it's resonating most importantly with our colleagues. And as a leader, it's super fun because they've coined this. This is not our marketing teams. This is not our executive teams that have come up with this. This is our people that are, being with us. I just recognized a colleague who's been with us 40 years. 40 years with Akkodis. And it's folks like that, I get super excited about waking up every morning and servicing because they have come and said, this is different. What we are building is super motivating and we're engaged. And they've coined the Akkodis Edge and it's catching on. So if there's one element that really is something that I'm super proud of in my time here, it's really working with, I believe, the best tech talent and consulting services team on the planet and creating something different. And that's exciting.
Well, good to hear. So, Adecco Group, where is the company heading and what's next? What lies on the horizon for it?
Yeah, so, I think that the group will continue to always be focused on human capital. I mean, that is our core, what I call common denominator between both our LHH business, our Adecco general staffing division, as well as our Akkodis division. At the core, we are a human capital company and organization. But I absolutely believe with our strategic relationships with now Salesforce, Microsoft, the early adoption that we've had across a global approach to our recruitment operations, but also how we are reshaping and positioning ourselves as a leader of leaders in terms of the future work of, that was going to be both generative AI in terms of the changes that will lead to in terms of both regulation, our position on ethical generative AI and how strongly of a position we have and what our focus and our investments in these areas are leading. I think that we will change the face and the group approach to how we deliver the future of work. And, still early days. What I can tell you is the generative AI level of adoption and innovation is so, like the speed is just something that I have not seen in my career. So this is both, could be a little scary at times, but when you are aligned with some of the biggest and the most, capable companies on the planet that are forging and leading the adoption, that's why a strategic approach to partnerships in this area, I think, is just brilliant. That makes me very excited that we will be absolutely a human capital company powered by generative AI and helping lead both our clients and our candidates into the future adoption of what work will look like with generative AI. We have a very important role to play. And, that's really, kind of the entire group is focused on this, led by our global CEO, on the importance of what we believe will be the future of work, ethical adoption of generative AI technology, and how the people, our people, as well as our candidates, are preparing themselves for this. I think that is very purposeful work. We impact a lot of lives, and we can also help change a lot of lives. And that's not too many companies on the planet can say that globally.
Are there any, and you don't have to name them if you don't want to, but are there any particular AI tools that you're really excited about? Actual tools, or you're like, oh my
I
God.
am, and I won't get into the specific
That's fine.
adoption of the technologies. But I'm going to give you some like examples of,
Yes.
make them specific to Akkodis. Okay, so when I look at software engineering and I look at software development, we have now implemented projects for clients where our Scrum development teams have literally gone from a development cycle of 12 to 18 months to 2 to 3 months. And when you are implementing the technology at that scale, that velocity, that speed, and the quality is the same or better, there's no discussion, no debate that this technology will continue to revolutionize delivery models for both our clients and our candidates that are supporting these projects. So, early adoption, early testing, ensuring that our people are getting the investment they require in order to participate and really crack and understand what the potential of the technology is, and also is like on the thumb beat, the pulse of the sheer velocity of change. And that's why it's difficult to say one technology. We have over 10 strategic initiatives going on in just software development. And I'm not talking cloud. I'm not talking all the other initiatives we have on our cloud and AI adoption or AI practices per se. I'm talking software engineering, 10 pilots with different technologies. That's the breadth of some of the work that we are able to provide both our clients as well as our candidates. And we then can form some opinions on some lessons learned between those various 10 technologies. But, I've looked at a stat recently, there are 10 companies that have been developed with GenAI initiatives that are all driven by software, architecture, adoption, servicing, where they are now at 50 to 100 million of ARR, annual revenues, in 18 months, serviced by a total of 20 colleagues. I mean, there are Gen AI first companies that are truly revolutionizing, certain segments of our industry. And, that's why it's super important. My team is based in Silicon Valley that is really focused in on this. And we are, on that, pulse of who they are, some of the techniques and tactics and approaches they are adopting in their models, and staying very close to the innovators that are innovating in this area. And every week it changes. Every day it's changing. So there's not one size fits all. And if there's one area that we would share in terms of our point of view and perspective, is truly bringing in leaders that have, a willingness to be completely taking the old approach, the older model, putting it there. It has its service, it has its need, but rethinking, reimagining the entire approach to software development, as an example, is one that we are spending a lot of time and a lot of energy on as well, because it will help position ourselves as well for our future client needs as well. So being very close to the innovation, piloting, proof of concept, the techniques and the approaches, and not just one. You can't just kind of hitch yourself to one technology or one initiative. You've got to be constantly working with multiple models, multiple technologies, and that requires some scale and that requires some commitment to invest. And we have both.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, your final question, what one piece of advice you would like to share, or two pieces of advice you would like to share with others in the ecosystem?
Stay close to your leaders and stay close to your people. And this is really, I go back to my development as a leader. I've got so many examples of great mentors, coaches, and people managers, right? And I spend time today with a coach myself. I spend time with our coaching division within our Ezra LHH area. Commitment as a people manager in this day, in our age, is so important. Really spending time looking in the mirror and understanding how you suit up and show up every day. Are you listening to what your people are telling you? Are you engaged? Are you creating culture and platform for people to sometimes just share how they're feeling, to, what projects they're most excited about, to what are some of the areas that are driving them absolutely, concerned? What are the areas that we have to stop? What are the areas that we have to start? Just really staying close to our people is so important as we are continuing to see this level of mass adoption of technology at a scale and a pace that I have not seen in my 25 years. So I think that's one piece of advice, really staying close to our people and listening to, what they need in order to be successful. And we as people managers really need to roll up our sleeves and ensure that we're taking the appropriate time to really focus on our people. And then I think that really helps translate into culture. And we've all heard culture kill strategy, but I am a huge believer. If you really set the people up for success, if they feel like they have voices, the culture needs to be really shaped and formed by highly engaged, highly motivated, highly qualified and talented leaders and people. And that's really what's super exciting for, as I mentioned earlier, Akkodis is you just then kind of sit back as a leader and there's kind of like a real energy and a buzz. And that's a direct testament to the people, right? The people help shape the culture of the organization in good times and in bad, right? And, listen, there's been some difficult times, cyclical in nature in the staffing industry, but these two will, pass, and there's going to be a lot of good times again as well. But how we treat our people, how we are allowing and ensuring that we're setting up a culture that really is one that can be embraced is the two areas that I spend most of my time on as a leader, is just ensuring that I'm connected to the people and ensuring that I'm listening and ensuring that there's a culture that, makes people motivated to get up to work every day, because we all have choices, and culture is a big element of why I believe many leaders choose to stay with an organization or leave an organization.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your insights. This was great. Really appreciate it.